Hi, team. Okay, here's a nice fresh recording for how we can work out our prototyping in our interactive toolbar. So we're going to use any phone screen. I like to use this one because it's nice and large, and I'm an iPhone person. So to get the ball rolling, first and foremost, I'll just call this home. And then on the side, probably by default, XD for you will open up here. But we want to go to the bottom left-hand corner where there's that little Lego piece, and that's where your plugins in or are. We're going to hit that plus sign and we bring up this menu, more with XD. So this is where you can browse lots of plugins that you can utilize for your comps. But today we're going to specifically look for icons. So we're going to hit icon, and then this little guy is going to come and we're just going to press install. It generally happens pretty quick. So we'll just give that a second. There it is, close it out. And then here's our icons. So what we're first going to do, just like say in Instagram, Facebook, etc., generally all of our apps, we usually have a color bar at the bottom. So I'm just going to use my rectangular tool. I'm going to remove that border, and let's add a nice, I like a nice peachy kind of color. Good. Okay, so what we want to do, we want to add a home button. We want to add an account button, and we want to add, say, a favorites button. So we're going to go to clicking on icons, and I'm going to go home. So now here is a list of icons that relate to obviously home. So I'm just going to nice and easy click that first one, bring it down. Then I'm going to bring in a heart icon. And then let's go account. Something I'm looking for right there. So first of all, I want to make sure that there's consistency in size, as this one looks smaller. So I click on one, over to the right, I'm on the transform. I see it's 31.5 pixels. Let's check, this one's 31.5. And this one is not, this sucker is only 30. So I'm going to make sure that's locked. I'm going to change that to 31.5, and that'll keep the proportions all there. So using my grid, which is Command Shift apostrophe, just to keep my margins consistent, I'm going to bring those up. And then I'm going to hide those again. And so say on our quote default state, I want these to be white. So I'm just going to select them all. I'm going to go over to my fill and make them white. This could potentially be a little bit darker for accessibility. So I'm just going to darken that up with our white icons. So let's just make sure the spacing between them. So I'm going to click and drag to select. I'm just going to, first and foremost, let's center them up. And then we're going to click this to make sure they're centered between each other. And we're golden here. So now what we want to do is we want to change the states of our buttons. So I'm going to start with the home. And I'm first going to right click. And I'm going to say make component. You can press Command K if you'd like as well. Right click, make component. Click, right click, make component. So now we start to see these appear in our components menu. When I go ahead and I click on the home, that's our default state, which is the state that when you land on the page, this is where they're going to be. We're going to hit that plus sign. We're going to go new state. And we're just going to call this, say, click / select. So when I click and select here, I want the color to change. So I actually would like the color to just be almost more of a tone on tone. So I'm going to darken that up. And I'm going to enlarge that button as well, as this is where we're going to see that animation come to life. So if I go ahead, for those that were in class today, this was partially my issue. I'm going to click. And if I go ahead and enlarge that like this, if I go back to default, you'll see that when I click over, my button enlarges down to the left. What we want it to do is enlarge from the center out. So instead, what I'm going to do, I might click and select. So I'm just going to undo that. So we have our color, making sure we're on our click and select section. We have our color, but I want to enlarge this from the center. So instead of enlarging the actual component, what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click. And that's where I get that blue highlight bar, because I just want to enlarge the object, not that button as a whole. I'm going to press Option Shifts to ensure I'm scaling from the center out. And that's where that's going to come from. So now we could see that that enlarges from the center out, and I'm fairly happy with that. What I do, again, want to make sure so we can stay consistent. I want to make sure that my height is going to stay consistent when I adjust these. So we've got 38.17. If you're concerned, you can even copy that. So I'm just going to leave it on this state since this is our home, but we're going to just go ahead and add the rest of the states to our other two buttons. So again, we've got default new state, click/select from our fill. I'm going to make sure that we stay consistent. And then again, I'm going to double click until we get that blue box to appear, making sure we're locked up. And I'm going to enlarge. Let's see, what was that? 38.17. Let's make that now. There we go. Take it back to here. And now again, adding our new state, we're going to go click, select, and double click. Again, Option Shift. Almost there. And there we have it again on this. We're going to bring it here. So now we've got our home screen set up. We've got our buttons in their different states. You can go ahead and check those if you want, just to make sure that things are properly moving and shaken. So I'm going to click on my artboard name, and I'm going to press Option Shift to drag it over. And I'm going to do that one more time, Option Shift and drag it over. I like those little pink bars to show up because I like things to be tidy and consistent. So we're going to call this faves and account. You can really just call them anything you want as long as they make sense. We're not looking to make this perfect. This is just a quick exercise. So since we're on our favorites page, we need to take this off the default state. And then we want this to be on our click and select state. Same thing over on the account side. We're going to take this off of our home state, and then we're going to put that on our click state. So now we have all three of those set up, and we're going to go over to our prototype tab. So we're going to say, first of all, click that heart. That we're going to wait for that blue arrow to come up, and we want that to link to here. This is again why naming our artboards is so important. So what we're going to do before we go and link, you can, but doing this first, it saves all of your actions. So we'll just do one. So let's go ahead and we're going to say auto animate. We want that to go to phase. We already linked that. Let's say let's ease in and out, and the duration, let's give it a 0.4. Okay, so now when we click this, auto animate, ease in and out, and 0.4. So you can see that those all linked back, or it kept the previous transition. So now from here, let's take that home, go here again. Let's make sure everything is consistent. This is linking to your account page. We're on the favorites. And then last but not least, we're just going to take that home button, making sure those settings are correct. And I think we're golden. Probably would have been a good idea to test one before I went and connected all of those. But again, this isn't a huge exercise, so quite confident we're working here. So let's go ahead and let's see how that works. So you can see how that gently enlarged, and that's where that easing comes in. Versus previously, it wasn't the color that eases in. I'll just briefly show you. If you are looking for that color transition, you can't quite get the color transition between states, but you can, in fact. Let's just add another iPhone here. So if we say, whoopsies. For instance, here, if we want this, to transition to this color, specifically not an actual state between buttons. If we click this to connect to here, just wanted to show you folks this. We're going to auto animate. We're going to ease in and out, and it's going to be 4 seconds. So now I'll just show you what that looks like when we click. So now that eases back in. Okay, so enjoy, have fun. Oh, and last but not least, I do want to show you, once you are done that, we are going to go to our share. We're going to, oh, let's just make sure, bad on me. I did not save this. So make sure you save that as a local document, not into your cloud. So when we go to share, we're up for design review. Anyone with the link, we go click create link. And then that just takes a brief moment. And then we hit that little lock icon, and you're going to paste that in the comments section in the Dropbox. If you happen to do a test and it doesn't work, be sure to update your link by saying update link. Do not just keep that same link in there, or it doesn't, your actual hyperlink does not automatically update. You will need to update the link and then update the link in Dropbox. All right, good luck, folks.